We were gone for quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
And hello to you, Star-Lord, and the rest of you guys on the internet. This week I got a simple build for us, making the Guardians of the Galaxy badge seen in Volume 3. We're going to start off by drawing our simple design onto a piece of paper. As you can see, I'm only drawing half of the design onto this piece of paper. That's because I will be folding it in half like so to complete the whole picture, making it very simple here. Next, busting out the parchment paper. This will make it easier to print onto our leather the same design. So here I'm taking the black pen, tracing out the whole design onto the parchment paper to make it a little bit easier for ourselves. Now, for all you guys who didn't know, drawing on parchment paper can get the pen a little bit slippery, so make sure you bear down pretty hard or else it's not going to stay put. Here I just free-handed the design, only on half of the parchment paper though. Again, we're going to be folding it in half. Boom, like so. And we're just going to be tracing along that edge to complete the whole interior design of that badge. And through the power of editing, we're done with that step. Unfold it, and boom, you can see the full design. Alright, and busting out the roll of veg tan leather, I'm going to be placing down the parchment paper to get a full size of how much we're going to need to cut off from here. We're going to be using this veg tan leather to transfer our design onto and make our badge out of. Next, you're going to want to drop our little piece of veg tan leather into a cold bath and touch it all over the place like your Uncle Gary. Get it all soaked in there and make sure that it feels nice and safe and comfortable with you. We're going to put down the parchment paper on top to start transferring over that design onto it. Using a ballpoint pen, you're going to want the most round tip as possible to make sure that you don't kind of split into the parchment paper and start actually drawing onto the leather. That's no good. And with that, you can kind of see the design that we've left over onto the leather. Now, most leather tooling kits will come with a swivel knife, but I don't really like them, so I end up using my X-Acto knife anyway. However, if you do like the swivel knife, go ahead and feel free to use it. I hear that's a lot easier, but I just kind of take my time with it, tracing through and cutting every design element out with the X-Acto knife. Taking my time with it, it's the best way to do it in my opinion. Alright, this one's kind of hard to see here, but as you can see, I didn't really cut through all the way to like touch tips with any of the other design. That's going to help us make it a little bit easier whenever we start tooling our leather. Here I'm just cutting out the same design, actually cutting it out from the leather to make it the full piece. And whenever you finally cut it out, take our little baby and just toss him right back into that bath. Alright, moving over to a different workshop, I'm taking our little baby out of its bath and I'm going to start tooling the leather here now. So taking our edge beveler tool, you're going to see me start pressing down the edges where we cut our design out of and start popping each one of them out. Right here is a little technique I like to do where I start pressing down the edges but then go back through and slide that edge beveler piece to really smooth it all out. Unless you're under 21 years old, I say this is going to take a while, so bust out your favorite drink and start having some fun with it. Now that we have our full design all popped out and beveled, taking a little sanding file, start sanding down those edges, but of course you can use a slicker brush. I just don't happen to own one. Going back in, just really sanding down those edges to make them all smooth and sharp and, rugged, like a real piece of metal would be. Now, as much as I love the way the leather looks right now, I'm going to be busting out our black leather dye after, of course, soaking our little baby back in its bath for a little bit. This will make our black leather dye kind of soak into the leather a little bit easier than it would if it were just dry. Now, I highly recommend using a dauber brush when putting leather dye onto leather, but if you don't have one like I, just use a regular paintbrush. However, it's just going to take a couple more coats than it would using a dauber brush. Now, while our leather piece dries, I'm going to be making our gold paint that's going to be brushed onto the badge with a little bit of dark metallic copper and a little light metallic copper, along with some gold puffy paint and this yellow ochre. These are all just paints that I had on hand. You can go out and buy them. Alright, starting off here with our lighter copper, I'm going to be mixing that in with our darker copper, if you can ever get it out, of course. Coming in with our gold puffy paint, I'm just going to make a little poop pile right there, and then finally finishing it all off with just a little touch of that yellow ochre. Getting our paintbrush ready, start swirling it around, and eventually you will get that gold coloring that we're looking for. After giving that a nice mix, if your coloring doesn't look like Will Poulter's face here, then obviously you're doing something wrong. Alright, now that the leather is all dried with this black base coat, I'm going in with the dark copper dry brush here with that little paintbrush there. However, shortly afterwards I realized that I hated this, so going in with the makeup brush, which is the superior way to dry brush anything. I'm going to start dry brushing it on there, getting off every bit of paint that is on there so it's truly the dry brush. And boom, look at that, you can see all the highlights and it's just looking sexy as hell. After getting off all that excess of gold paint, I'm going in now with the makeup brush again and dry brushing on little by little bit of that gold to really just bring out the highlights and to really make the whole badge pop with every little bit of detail. So after going in with the dry brushing here, I actually did go back in with a black wash over it and then dabbed off the excess with a paper towel. Kind of gave it a good finish to it that you will see in the glamour shots later. Here I got some Velcro that I'm going to be attaching to the back because we do want to wear this to the movie premiere later on this week.
Big bang boom!
The engine is starting up.
Alright, we got the gang going to see Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 here at the Regal Atlantic Station 40X Theater. We're going to be rolling hardcore.
Talking about hanging out. He's like, yo.
There they are. There, he's dying.
Oh,
Curious about this this villain. What's living
apparently he's
Triune.
one of the best MCs.
Oh my god, it's 3D!
What's up?
Dude. We're getting ready. There they are.
Oh my god.
What'd you guys see?
It was raw.
Raw as fuck. Perfect movie.
Ooh, baby. That was a good movie. Now, join us next time on The Boy Named Soy. And let's get on to those glamour shots. I want to personally thank all y'all for sticking around this long and watching the video. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. I had a lot of fun going to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 tonight in 4DX, and we'll soon be posting a spoiler and non-spoiler free review, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. And for any of y'all that did not see my last video, the link will be up in the corner above. Keep crafting, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.